Hey all, Hipper here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're looking at 5 ways to improve Sea of Conquest. So don't forget to like, share and of course subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video. So let's go back to late 2023 when I first downloaded this game, and as soon as I started it I realized, wow, this developer is on to something here. Like, the game was and still is high quality, the assets are quite amazing, and there were just so many things to do in the game. And Season 1 was amazing. I had a lot of fun in Season 1. Season 2 was even better. But then this thing happened that's called Season 3. And it was pretty disappointing. And it's not so much because of the season. It's more the fact that the game is running out of steam. And new stuff needs to be added. And this video here, I will show you 5 things that I think should be added to the game to, get it back to the trajectory where it was, because honestly players seem to be dropping like flies, and for example the official Discord hasn't really grown for the last 3 months. So to turn this decline around, new features need to be added to the game, including specializations. Now this is something that I've been wanting for a long time, because everybody has pretty much the same ships, the same heroes, and in many cases exactly the same setups. And that's because there's no real need to branch out or to specialize in the game, and that's a shame, and I think that needs to be changed. So I've dreamt up these 5 specializations here, and these are just examples, right? So my first example here is a combat specialization, which is pretty much what everybody runs at the moment. So it shouldn't be enough to specialize in combat, for example. You would have to specialize even more into, for example, a in-your-face brawling ship or a sniper ship, or perhaps some sort of balanced approach. There's so many options, and I think this is something that the game really needs, because everybody runs the same combat build. So another specialization could be exploration, for example, where you build your ship so it's, for example, faster, you can get around the map quicker, but it's not very durable, and it's not very good at fighting other ships, but it's excellent for picking up, crafting materials from the map, or simply just to explore the map. And perhaps you would have some skill where you can share your explorations with your gang, for example. Like, there's so many options, but again, this is just an example. Another thing you could choose to focus on with your build could be trading, and you could, take up being a merchant or even a smuggler, and I suppose even a pirate, really. You could also just focus on transporting stuff, for example, transporting crafting materials for other players who haven't specialized in that skill, for example, a little bit like Eve Echoes, if you ever played that. So the stealth specialization here, again just an example, is something I dreamt up, where you could, be a spy. So you could, for example, sail close to an enemy gang and, have a special skill that allows you to look like a member of that gang, for example, right? You could also be an assassin, specializing in taking out very important players if they're, undefended at some point. And of course a thief, like sailing into other gangs' ports and steal their resources, for example. There's so many options, and it's a shame that none of these are really implemented in the game yet, and I really think they should be. So the next class I have as an example here is a support class, which is very broad, for example. But you could be a healer, for example, or you could be a blocker, and by blocker I mean someone who's able to set up, for example, walls or whirlpools in narrow places to keep enemies away, or for example mines. There's so many possibilities. Conqueror, I'm thinking a ship that specializes in, for example, speeding up, taking over towers and ports, so you actually get to do something other than just trading and fighting, right? So speaking of combat and or fighting, and I've said this before, like, the combat in the game really needs to be improved. It is far too simple at the moment, where you just, you pick an enemy ship, you click it, and then the 2 ships battle it out until one of them wins. There's hardly any strategy, and there's no tactical decisions to be made at all. So the game already includes these possibilities, like what I'm showing now is from the tutorial, and there's even another part of the tutorial where you are able to actually mount guns straight on your deck. So why this isn't a thing in the actual game, I don't know. I think it's to, bring players in and make them think that the game is about this. But anyway, But being able to choose your ammunition, for example, and fire your guns in a particular pattern, and choosing your skills and the timing of your skills, so to, for example, negate the enemy's skills, like that would be a big step towards making the fights a little bit more enjoyable. And it's really something that I think the developers should have a very good think about. So next up, there's customization, because really, if you look into the skin section of this game here, like you get a few frames, and none of them are really particularly interesting. And flagship skins, the game has been out for 6 months now, and there is a grand total of 8 flagship skins. That's hardly any, and let's face it, it doesn't take a lot of effort to create a skin. And I mean, it's some of those things that like people really want to have in a game, and they are prepared to pay for. And the same thing with trails. There's a grand total of 6 in the games. That's 1 per month. So I don't know why FunPlus, the developer, isn't pushing these things out much faster, because it's very little effort, and it will, people will buy it for sure, and it will create, diversity on the seas. No ship will be alike, both in the way that it looks and also in the way that it specializes, if they go with what I said in the beginning of the video here. Next up, we have artifacts, and they need to be improved as well. In Season 1 and partially Season 2, we got a lot of artifacts. In Season 3, we haven't got a single artifact, and it doesn't look like we're going to get any in Season 4 either. So that's a huge problem. Like, artifacts are what make this game fun. And in my opinion, there should be hundreds of artifacts. And you should only have a limited amount of artifact slots on your ship. So say you can only use 5 or 6 out of, like, a total of 200 different artifacts, right? So again, this will create diversity, different builds, and you never expect what a ship is going to have. And of course, I would like to be able to upgrade my artifacts as well, just like with trinkets. So some sort of currency used to actually, increase the duration of your horn, for example. I'm just thinking things here. And potentially even be able to specialize even more, sort of like how the stars work right now, the stargazing, right? So you can get a longer duration on your horn, or you can get faster speed, but not both, right? And more artifacts, obviously. We need stealth artifacts, we need spy artifacts, we need crafting artifacts, we need ally artifacts, and we need conquest artifacts, just for example, right? There's so many things that could be added, but developers just seem to have kind of let this part of the game go. So I've mentioned crafting a few times in this video, and that's really one area where this game could really benefit, because the mechanics are there, right? You can already create recipes and mix stuff together. So all the game really needs to do, or the developers needs to do, right, is change a few things around. So for example, you can sail somewhere on an island. I'm just, making it up here and showing you what I mean. But let's say there was some sort of resource right here. So you sail to the resource point, and then, for example, you use your compass or whatever, another artifact, doesn't really matter, to find the resource and gather it. And once you've finished, you sail back to port, where there will be not a trader, but there will be a crafter. And you can then refine your goods or whatever that you need to do. And after doing that, you'll be able to sell them to other players, or you'll be able to use them for, different purposes on your ship. For example, here in the other section of the inventory, there's so many things that are just waiting to be crafted, really. So I think this is like really a no-brainer. So let's say you pick the exploration specialization from earlier, and you pick a few artifacts that help you explore more, or for example, expand your cargo area even more at the expense of, for example, 3 cannons, who knows? And you'll then be able to, search the map and perhaps even jump through whirlpools to other maps where the crafting or the resource gathering is really good, and then return to the actual map and sell that to other players who aren't able to enter these whirlpools because they don't have your specialization, right? This is just, again, an example. And like I said earlier, the whole crafting stuff is already in the game. It's already coded. It's in there. You can use it for recipes, or you can use it for brewing stuff. And really, all the developers would have to do is just to add new ingredients and, of course, new things to craft. So again, I think this is an absolute must. So that was my 5 suggestions on how to improve Sea of Conquest. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like I said, don't forget to comment if you have any other suggestions. And other than that, I just want to hope you enjoy the video and you still enjoy the game. And I will see you out there.